Hello there. On the Land Conversation today, we talk land and property valuation in Kenya. For more on this, I'm joined by Michael Otieno, Managing Director, Kenya Valuers and Estate Agents. Thank you so much for speaking to us. What is valuation?
Valuation is the art of estimating the value of our property. That is market value of a property. By market value, we talk about what a willing buyer and a willing seller would agree upon. Because we have something called a for sale value. That is, if a financial institution is now foreclosing your property, you're not able to pay for your mortgage. Yeah, so that is not a willing seller because they have been forced by circumstances to sell the property. So market value is when there's an arm's length transaction between a buyer and a seller. So that is what market value is. A normal value where there's no coercion, there's no for sale, there's nothing. There's just a willing buyer and a willing seller. So this is one of the properties we are valuing. Yeah, so this is the living room with a fireplace and a dining area. It's quite very cozy. It's a small and good, yeah, small and beautiful. And then we have a TV area, so that's separated from this other side, and there's a TV there.
Why should I have my property or land valued? What is the importance?
It's just to sensitize the importance of valuations and to have your documents in order because anything can happen. You might need it anytime, and it's easier if you have a previous valuation. You have all your documents in order, your titles and suches. And of course, if you're going to spend a lot of money buying a property, then please have a budget for due diligence. If you're going to build a mall, have some budget for feasibility study. If you're going to sell your property, just spend a bit of money, 0.25% of the value, to do a valuation, just to make sure that you're selling at the right price.
You walk us through the processes in a residential property, as well as if it is the valuing of land.
When we onboard a client and they want to sell their property, our commission is usually 3% plus VAT. Our responsibility is to advertise the property and to make sure that we link the right buyer to the seller. The word right is always comes in because you might find some people who express interest and they're not able to buy. So when we get there and we confirm this is a firm offer, then the lawyers will always come in and ask for proof of funds and all that kind of stuff. So once there's an offer and an acceptance, then we connect the two advocates. So the seller's advocate and the buyer's advocate, then they come in. So the work of the agent is to make sure that if you're acting for the seller, you always you're with them throughout the selling period. And unfortunately, the agent gets paid at the end of when the deal closes. So usually 90 days is what the law says. So at the end of the 90 days. So it's also a very patient game, but we do that for our clients, and we're happy to guide them to make sure that they sell their properties at the right price. When sellers come to us and they want to sell their properties, they all have different circumstances. We've seen people coming to sell properties because they're in a fix. They have kids abroad, they want to offload one property. And in such cases, most sellers will even go below market value and say, can you just get me someone to give me $1 million and I'll move out of the property. Yeah. So factors to consider when you're selling your property is, of course, the size of land that you're sitting on, the age of the building, and what user you have. For example, we are seated here in Muthaiga. I don't think in our lifetime we'll ever see apartments here. So, and it's also probably the most expensive property in Nairobi in terms of values per acre. And the best you can do here is just a single dwelling residential house. So, location of course matters. Muthaiga has a very strong neighborhood association. They will not allow anytime soon for anyone to come here and do flats or even subdivide to quarters and all that. Yeah. So size of the land, the gradient, if it's too slopey, then it's cheaper. if the house is too old. Of course, we've seen houses that are very old and they're very well maintained, and they're not very much depreciatable compared to properties that are not well maintained. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of renovations, because this is a house built in the 60s. Yeah, so that comes back to our conversation about depreciation. So you come here and look at the parquet, and it's very, it's in good shape, and it's still very intact.
Let's talk about valuation in terms of property owners who perhaps want to translate their properties into rental spaces.
We also big on the rental market. We are listed by the UN in the Karibu Kenya book. So, and of course our proximity to the UN offices really helps. So we have a lot of landlords that we are renting their properties in dollar rates. Yeah, so from experience also, having been in Gigiri for almost 30 years now, and the company being in existence for over 46 years, we understand different property prices. So we're able to advise, this is what you're able to achieve. You're able to achieve $500 more because you have a pool. You're able to achieve $500 more because you have a extra SQ. Yeah, so we take the client through the entire process and advise them on the right value, on the right price that we believe we're able to close and what is right. So we've had, of course, we have landlords that come and have very high expectations, and we always say the market will speak. So if you are renting at $6,000 and all you are getting is $4,000, then means $4,000 is just about the right price. Yeah. So we have, and of course the customer is king, you know. So we have to listen to them, and sometimes it becomes too. If it's too exaggerated, then we don't take up the property, yeah, because you cannot sell everything. Yeah.
Now, in a mortgage arrangement, how does valuation come in?
4 sets of value. So we'll give the market value, especially if you're working with a bank. We'll give a for sale value. For sale value is usually 75% of the market value. So for sale value is, it was introduced by the Land Act 2012. This is because if you take a mortgage and you're unable to pay it, bad people, let me call them bad people in banks, will put your property up in the market for sale, sell it at a very cheap price, and then someone will put it back to the market at market value. So to prevent that, the law states you cannot foreclose a property below 75% of its value. So if you're to sell back to the market, then the least you can sell that property for is 75%. Yeah, so that helps. So then the third set we give is a mortgage value. Mortgage value is usually 80 to 85% of the value of the property. Yeah, it's just a guide to help the banks in determining how much money they can give you against the property. We have banks that give up to 100% of the market value. Very few banks though. They even pay for your professional fees like valuation, if you need a surveyor and all that. And of course, it goes back to you. But that means you don't need to have money with you, you don't need to have a deposit with you and all that. So insurance value is the last, and that's where the land part comes in. So if you're insuring this property, we cannot insure land. So one of the principles of land is it cannot be insured because it cannot be destroyed. So you only value the buildings only. So if you look at a whole set of valuation, then you'll see that insurance value is very low. So most people will come and ask, why is the insurance value very low? Then we always state in our report that we have not factored in the land. But if you're looking at an apartment, the insurance value will be equal to the market value. Yeah, because if, for example, in the unfortunate event that there's a fire and you lose your apartment, then the principles of insurance of indemnity will require you to be reinstated to where you are. So that means you need the equal amount of money to buy an equal state of an apartment here. Hardwood doors. Yeah, very rustic and very...
This has also just been done, so there's a lot of workmanship that's been...
Yeah, this was originally there. Yeah, it's just been polished a bit.
That's it on the land conversation today. Thank you so much for watching. Join us next week for another episode.